Good morning. Welcome to the Gadsden City Council meeting today. I'd like to remind everyone, please make sure that your cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised, our City Council meetings are broadcast on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T UVerse, and the City of Gadsden YouTube channel. The meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on Assistant City Clerk Jennifer Smith for the roll call.
Councilwoman Latham.
Present.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Back.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Councilwoman Minatra.
Here.
And Councilman Robinson.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Latham to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. God, we thank you today that you have given us the opportunity of life, health, and strength. We thank you for the wisdom, the knowledge, the direction to do the things that you have assigned to our hands to do. We thank you for the success of our city, and we ask your continued blessings upon our mayor, upon our council, upon our city workers and those who work to make our city better, and to those who live in our city. We thank you for what you have done, for what you're doing, and the things that you are going to do. We pray this prayer in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and council meeting held on October 22nd.
So moved.
That would also include the Public Works Committee meeting held on October 23rd. I'm sorry. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
Item 6, the chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the week of October 18th through the 24th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Item 7 is proclamations and commendations.
So I have one, Tina's.
Okay, all right, we have one today. Okay.
Tina, I was laughing at Tina's.
Oh.
She was like, "What? What am I reading?"
Hi, I'm Tina Morrison from Greater Gadsden Area Tourism, and we've just been handed this proclamation from the city for Frank Towers Day, which will be this Thursday, and I will read that now. Whereas George Frank Towers, a veteran of the U.S. Navy, was an Etowah County resident and served as Gadsden City police officer during the 1930s until resigning in May of 1941 to rejoin the Navy as World War II began to unfold in Europe. And whereas Chief Frank Towers served as a gunner's mate on the USS Reuben James, a post-World War destroyer that had been assigned to the Neutrality Patrol, in which U.S. Navy ships escorted convoy ships bound for Great Britain to the coast of Iceland, where the convoy was picked up by British naval vessels. And whereas at approximately 6 a.m. on October 31st, 1941, the USS Reuben James was torpedoed and sunk by a German U-boat submarine west of Iceland, killing 100 of the 144 officers and sailors on board. From the impact of the two German torpedoes, Frank Towers was reportedly thrown into the icy waters, but was able to provide a flare gun to a Navy firefighter to signal for help from a lifeboat. Frank then swam back to his ship to assist other mates, but tragically did not return. Frank Towers is considered to be Gadsden's, Etowah County's, and Alabama's first fatal casualty of World War II. And whereas for his service to Gadsden as a police officer and also for his service with the U.S. Navy, the East Gadsden Civitan Club placed a bronze star dedicated to Frank Towers in the sidewalk at 3rd and Broad Streets in downtown Gadsden, Alabama. On Thursday, October 31st, 2024, at 11 a.m., Greater Gadsden Tourism will host a ceremony at the Star honoring Frank Towers. We would like to invite everyone to join us. That is this Thursday at 11 o'clock at 3rd and Gadsden, 3rd and Broad in Gadsden. And at this time, I would like to call up Mr. Craig Scott, who will be portraying Mr. Frank Towers on Thursday.
Mayor, council, it's an honor to be here. As a former police officer, Chief, please say, give my best wishes to our officers today. But as Tina said, I'll be portraying Frank Towers, corner of 3rd and Broad, right where the star is, on Thursday. That's Halloween, October 31st, 1941. That's when old Rube, as we called her, Reuben James, went down, and I went down with her. But join us on Thursday, 11 o'clock here, and you'll hear the full story of Frank Towers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Ford, for that proclamation. Thank you, Tina, for reading that, and we look forward to honoring the memory of Frank Towers on Thursday. Are there any others that we have this morning, Mayor Ford? All right. I want to welcome Kay Moore here today. I see you've returned from one of your Northeast travels, so welcome home. All right. We will go into section 8, which is item 8, which is unfinished business. We have none today. So move to item 9. This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of an ordinance, rezoning property located at 2208 Industrial Avenue from an R1 single-family residence to B2 General Business District. The owner has a business on an adjacent parcel and plans to build a warehouse on the property to use for storage and shipping and receiving. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
The owner's here if you want to hear from him or not.
All right. Would you care to speak this morning? Sure. Okay. If you will, sir, if you'll give us your name and your address for our records.
My name is Jason O'Day. We're at 2221 West Meagan Boulevard. I'm the vice president of the company. We've been in business for 24 years, known as Audio King. Been serving the great west side of Gadsden for 24 years, and we've expanded our business over the past 5 years, where we started our own distribution company and speaker enclosure factory, and we ran out of space. We need more space, so pay more tax dollars to you guys and build a warehouse. That's our whole goal.
That's wonderful. Well, we appreciate your 24 years in Gadsden. Congratulations, and congratulations on the need for an expansion.
Thank you.
So that's wonderful. That's anybody else have any comments or questions? All right. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
All right. This ordinance has been presented today for the first reading, and the council will vote on it next week. Item 10 is our next public hearing. It's a resolution approving alcoholic beverage license, MRDA LLC, doing business as Litchfield Corner, located at 425 Hope Street in District 2, has applied for an off-premises retail beer and table wine license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item 11 is our final public hearing. It's a resolution approving alcoholic beverage license, Old School Tavern LLC, located at 922 Tuscaloosa Avenue in District 3, has applied for a restaurant retail liquor license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? You do? Okay. If you would come to the podium, please. And if you'll give us your name and your address for our records, please, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Gail Veal, 922 Tuscaloosa Avenue. That is the business that I'm I'm hoping that y'all will approve and give us the opportunity to be a part of your great city. So that's all I want to say.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item 12 is new business. I believe we have a few items this morning.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. The first one I have, Mr. President, is from the Engineering Department. This is a resolution authorizing a supplemental request to the agreement with JBW&T, Inc. for additional professional engineering and consultation services performed for the 9th and Lay Street Drainage Improvement Project. This is one of the ARP projects, drainage projects, that was funded by the ARP funding. The total amount's $19,524.54. Again, since this is an active project, and we don't want to hold the process up, if there's no objections, I'd like to suspend the rules and consider this under new business today.
All right, Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution as an item of new business today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
All right. Yeah, that's the next one. This is also from the Engineering Department, Mr. President, and again, this is a engineer and roadway related project. This is a resolution authorizing a supplemental request to the agreement with Volkert, Inc. for additional professional engineering and consultation services performed for the relocation of U.S. Highway 411 from I-759 to U.S. Highway 431. More specifically, I think the project references the location being from Rainbow Drive to Walnut Street is getting a little more detailed. But again, this is some of the engineering and prep work that's required by ALDOT and the United States Department of Transportation concerning the relocation of Rainbow Drive 411 from there right at the hospital up to what will hopefully one day be a beautiful new commercial development here at City Hall. So the total amount of that is $149,187. So if there's no objections, so we can keep this project moving, I would like to suspend the rules and consider this under new business today.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
And just one further point of clarification on that $149,000 for this agreement, that includes field surveys, the environmental study, the traffic study, and all of the document preparation and everything required to submit those forms to the appropriate state and federal agencies. Okay. Next, we have a resolution authorizing an agreement between the City of Gadsden and Calhoun County for housing of municipal inmates. The total amount here is $420,811. Just to expound on this, this was a recent change that we made initially after not being able to reach an agreement with the local county jail. We'd worked briefly with City of Jacksonville with their new facility. It wasn't quite ready for what we needed it to be when it comes to medical care for the inmates and the logistics of moving certain inmates around for temporary periods of time. That led us to entering into a new conversation with Calhoun County Jail. there in the city of Anniston, and this is the culmination of that agreement that Mr. Inchkin and Tina King have been working so diligently to negotiate just over the last week or so. And the rough estimate is right now that working with the Calhoun County Jail versus our previous jail contract, this new relationship would save us somewhere around $114,000 a year by working with Calhoun County for the housing of our prisoners. Now, simultaneously, we're also moving forward with the plans for this temporary holding facility that the city of Gadsden will have and have the ability to hold individuals for 72 hours, which is the lion's share of the inmates or the prisoners that we come in contact with are misdemeanor crimes. If somebody commits a very violent felony or crime, they're probably being housed by another agency, not necessarily the city of Gadsden. So this 3-day temporary holding facility will really be a nice cog in the wheel of how our whole system works around here, and it'll meet the objectives of keeping bad people off the street and not keeping people locked up that don't need to be locked up. So all of this comes to culmination with this contract for Calhoun County Jail prisoners at a rate of $33.50 per inmate if they stay more than 12 hours, and a rate of $16.75 per inmate if they stay less than 12 hours. And just to give you a frame of reference, right now we have about 29 of those inmates that are there for greater than 12 hours. So we're talking about 29 to 30 on average every day, to give you a scope of it. So with that in mind, since we're already in this relationship with Calhoun County Jail, it'd really be nice to codify that relationship with a contract. So if there's no objections, I'd like to suspend the rules and consider this under new business today.
Second.
All right, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt, please.
All right, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries to adopt.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilman Wilson. Item 13 is department reports, committees, boards, et cetera. Do we have any of those today, Mayor Ford? None today? All right, we'll move to item 14, remarks by mayor and council. Mayor Ford?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I want to talk about, first of all, we had a free dumpster day on Saturday. We took in 80 tons of debris. Just so you'll know, in poundage, that's 160 pounds of debris that won't end up all over the streets in Gadsden. So it was a good day that the city offered free of charge, and the dump was open also, and that total came to 160 pounds or 80 tons. What did I say? Y'all didn't hear me right. I said 160,000, not 160.
He'll read anything you tell him to.
Yeah. I just know it was a lot. How about that? Yeah.
Just write it down.
So I'm mad about something. I'm going to get to it. But, we're having a blood drive at Gadsden Regional on November the 1st in Building 500. We also have our Veterans Day Parade on November the 6th at 2 p.m. on Broad Street. And prior to that, I think we're having the Patriots Luncheon, I think is 11 o'clock at the venue. Is that correct? I believe that's correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Today at 2 p.m., we'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Central Carver Foundation and dedicate the monument honoring the would-be graduates of Carver High School. I want to thank Ruth Moffitt for all her work into that. That'll be a great thing to be at today if you're available. So I want to just, in Montgomery we'd call it a point of personal privilege, but I already got the microphone, Mr. President, thanks to you. But this is something very serious that's going to have to stop in Gadsden. We're going to put a stop to it. We got a lot of exhibition driving going on downtown on Broad Street and down in the Carver community. We're about to enforce this, and we're about to do exhibition driving on the exhibition drivers, and we're going to put a stop to it. And I mean that sincerely. They're tearing up the pavement. They're leaving marks. They're causing property damage. We just had our employees go down and paint the stripes in the street, and now there's rubber marks everywhere. It's just a bad look. We have them on camera. and we're going to catch the ones that caused this damage to our property. If there is something fortunate about this situation, the majority of them aren't from Gadsden. They're from out of area. But we're going to stop this. I want to explain this. It is a Class A misdemeanor at this current time. That involves up to 1 year in jail, up to $6,000 fine, a revocation of your driver's license privileges for 6 months. That is at the discretion of the judge. The judge knows my intent, what I hope he would rule. I can't enforce a judge to rule in any way, but he knows how serious we are about this exhibition driving in Gadsden. We're also working with our legislators. I talked to Representative Mac Butler and the delegation over the weekend to make this a felony with even harsher penalties. This has to stop. Birmingham has this issue, other areas that has this issue. The legislature took up a bill last year, and I think they passed a bill just for Birmingham. We're asking for a local bill this year and also a statewide bill, and Representative Mac Butler is going to sponsor that bill. So my message is this: if you're doing it, you better stop, because if you are doing it and we catch you, we're going to enforce it. We're not going to let you off easy. We're going to enforce whatever we can to give you the maximum fine and maximum penalty, because this is not what we're about, and this is not what Gadsden's going to stand for. So I told the police chief over the weekend, he always asks what's my intent. In the military, you ask what your commander's intent is, or what's your priority. Well, my number one priority right now is to stop this exhibition driving, and we're going to put an end to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. Councilwoman Latham.
I really don't like coming behind him when he's that fired up. Nevertheless, thank you, President Beck. I just want to say to the constituents of District 1, especially those who live in the Adams-Doggett area, that we heard today we are closer to seeing boots on the ground and equipment in the area for that drainage issue. So we're glad to hear that. And also want to say, as a result of that, we know that for some other major drainage areas in District 1, Spring Rock and over in Green Pasture, those are moving along. And so we are excited to hear that. Thank you, Mayor Ford and Heath, for the things that you're doing to go ahead and see those projects mature. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to just ask everybody to pray for the Menez family. Our Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Menez, recently lost a son and Nev lost a mother, and that funeral will be this weekend. So please keep Ms. Sharon Menez in your prayers, if you will. And also just want to mention Ms. Tracy's wearing pink today on breast cancer. Breast cancer survivors, those who maybe even transitioned are now our heroes. But any type of cancer that you've dealt with, I know myself, Councilman Robinson, or two up here, who've had a bout with cancer as well. Just know that we're praying for all of you, no matter what type of cancer you may have had. Thank you, Mayor Ford, for your leadership, and we appreciate the council for all that you do as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Avery.
Mr. President, thank you. I want to thank all those families, the kids that came out on, and all those representatives that represented it in this past Saturday trunk or treat there. Started at Carver and made its way down to the 10th Street block of Tuscaloosa Avenue, and so was very excited to be able to share that opportunity with those kids, and we outdid ourselves from last year, this year. I do want to address those safety issues. There are some safety issues that we have there within that block, and to keep it simple and short, I would like to discuss those so that we can get those taken care of, because some kids could have gotten hurt. Based on my next subject, piggybacking off the mayor with expedition driving, this is something that I've spoken about way before council. This is something that is not new, but this is something very dangerous, and something that is we're going to experience someone, whether it's the driver or the driver, hitting and killing someone, and that in which I am a a component of a support of this, the resolutions and any other enforcements as it goes or as it relates to catching whomever these guys are. This past Saturday, we had some guys from Talladega, I believe so, that was flying up and down Tuscaloosa Avenue while hundreds of kids are within less than, I would dare to say, 8 foot from the road. Okay, so no care in the world. The strip. Let me give you a little tad bit history, and I'm in here. The strip is not called Tuscaloosa Avenue. Is not called a strip because it's a drag strip. Back in the day, there was a lot of businesses. There was a lot of gatherings in support of whether the 3 football teams we had, homecomings, and whatever it was. And so people came down to Tuscaloosa Avenue to support the businesses and to gather as a family, we'll say. You could tell for every person that passed you on the strip at that time what they was wearing, because literally people went at 5 miles per hour, not 25 miles per hour. So that's what that's the speed limit is, 25 miles per hour. Today's generation is the total opposite, and I don't understand it. However, I do also promote that we take a deep dive in what we do for our young people in this community, in this city, that we do focus on what are their interests, what they're interested in, that we also look at legislation that will aid, whether it's a skateboard park, whether it's a BMX track, whether we can maybe look at a place out at the steel plant where they can sign a waiver and they can expedition drive and have at it. But at the end of the day, because of, as it relates to my community particularly, this has to stop. And so I'm very afraid that something bad is going to happen. It has been light post at first, and so I dare to arrive the day where it be someone dead body laying out there. So very big component of this, as the administration is looking into, the mayor is spoken to, I will be 100% behind him with that. And so with that, I end with saying thank you all to has been reaching out to the family as it relates to death. Continuous prayers for Dr. Peggy Williams in her passing, and more to come as it relates to the arrangements of her service. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Wilson?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. One thing, there was an oversight on my part last week. My condolences to my friend Andrew Fuller on the loss of his father, Lewis. That was, I was not aware of that until Councilman Robinson mentioned that last week, and I hated to hear that. Mr. Fuller was a great man. Also, another one that I overlooked, my condolences to the family of Lily Ledbetter. She passed away. I don't know a lot of people. She has fans and enemies through this town, depending on which side of the Union line you were on growing up. But make no mistake about it, she was an iconic woman in the world, really. I mean, her story was known all over the world, and obviously she had congressional acts given equal pay to women was named after her. So to have someone from Gadsden have that much of an impact on just the world, it's impressive. So she passed away. Also, on a lighter note, thank you, Craig Scott. I don't know, he may have gotten out of here, but man, he's such a gift to Gadsden. He's always willing to step up and do those things that you don't think about. At 11 o'clock on the corner of 3rd and Broad Street on a Wednesday, I mean, it's just, you need things like that to kind of fill in the gaps to make your town really feel like a community. It's kind of just going in and filling in those little gaps with those small acts, and Craig does a great job of that, man. We're lucky to have him. I don't know if I will be here next Tuesday or if we're actually going to change the meeting schedule or whatever, but everybody go vote next Tuesday. If I don't get a chance to speak to you guys, make sure you vote. And then Halloween, the FOP will have their trick-or-treat event at the venue. on Halloween night, starting at, what time did you say, Tina? 6? Starting at 6 at the venue. That's the FOP's Halloween. And then, of course, as usual, the Turrentine Avenue Halloween chaos will be there. So if you do plan to come downtown to the Historic District, please be prepared to park and walk a lot. The roads will not be passable. You won't be able to just drive down Turrentine. It'll be all pedestrian only. So just be prepared to walk if you decide to come. Come a little bit before dark, and please don't come much after dark. But no kidding, get there and prepare to have a great time. It will literally take you all night to get down the street and back up the other side. There's usually anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 kids coming and going through Turrentine. So it's a great spectacle, even if you don't have kids, to come out and people watch. It's a lot of fun, but if you want some candy, get there early. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Wilson. Councilwoman Minatra.
I'll just tag on to Councilman Smith's. We're closing out the month of October in support of breast cancer, in support of the survivors and their families. And just as a reminder, we do have our pink garbage cans for purchase, and all you need to do is contact City of Gadsden Garbage Department or Never Surrender for the instructions on how to make your purchase and support breast cancer awareness. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to follow back on this exhibition driving. I'm glad that we are enforcing this and we're getting on top of it. It's about time. We do so much to beautify this city. We do a great job with even the litter and the cleaning of the streets and the painting and keeping everything nice and tight. And you got these folks coming here making it look bad and putting people in danger and hitting buildings and possibly hitting other stuff. So, I mean, I'm glad we're enforcing this. I'm all for it. It needs to happen and needs to stop. Halloween is this Thursday. Everybody just drive slow wherever you're at in whatever neighborhood, especially up on the mountain with those hills and curves. No speeding. I mean, it's hard to trick or treat up there, but people still do. So just be safe. I'm sure it's like that everywhere, but I'm saying everybody just be safe. But
you can come on down to District 5. It's okay.
I think I might stay up on 7 this year. We'll see what's going on. That, and let's see, I had another one. He sidetracked me on that one. Well, Halloween, and we will be here next Tuesday. We are okay. In session, so we can vote afterwards or vote before 7 to 7. So, but please go vote. That'll be all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Robinson. I do want to echo the sentiment of the exhibition drive, and thank you, Mayor Ford and your staff and Chief Jaggers for putting a special emphasis on this. It definitely has to stop. It's dangerous. It makes no sense. It costs the city a lot of money and a lot of resources, taxpayer money. We just painted the crosswalks downtown. Now we got to paint them again. And the light poles on Tuscaloosa Avenue, it's just not necessary to behave like that. So I am 100% behind all efforts to stop that activity. Thank you for your leadership there. Wanted to mention also, we had voted on the jail contract today, and I see Etowah County Commissioner Jamie Grant in the back. Jamie, I want to recognize you and thank you for being here. We're friends, okay? The city of Gadsden and Etowah County are friends. Mayor Ford and the leadership at Etowah County are friends. I said in the pre-council meeting, sometimes two budgets can collide, and the county commissioners are doing, and that leadership is doing what they need to do for their budget, and the city of Gadsden's doing what we need to do for our budget. That does not mean we're not friends. That does not mean anybody's done anything wrong. It means that we're all working for the taxpayers, and we're doing the best that we can with what we have to do with. So, and I'm glad Commissioner Grant is here because we are friends. We live in proximity to each other. I live 2 doors down from Shane Ellison, who's the county administrator, and we're close friends. So this has nothing to do with friendships or anything. It's just business, and this is what we're doing. Hopefully we can get back together with the county down the road. I think that's the mayor's intent, and so we'll all support that. But we want to support each other and for each entity to make the best decisions, and that's what I think we're seeing as we move forward with that contract. I want to take a personal moment and want to welcome my new granddaughter to this world. Mm-hmm. Our daughter and son-in-law, Kirkland and Morgan, had a little girl Thursday morning at about 3:15. Her name is Liza. And so welcome, Liza Cunningham, from your old grandpappy here. Welcome to the world. We're head over heels in love and excited to have a new grandchild.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Councilman Wilson. Yeah, I got to make her an Auburn fan. Yeah, I've got an uphill battle. It's a real thick Alabama family there, so I'll have to sharpen my pencil somehow, or my pen, I guess. That's right. The Make Liza for Auburn campaign. That's what we'll do. So, all right, I hope everybody does have a great day. Please be careful on Halloween and be respectful of others. Thank you.